to also appreciate the committee for a job well done. After you realize, Mr. Speaker, the Auditor General just gave in her report also, and she really challenged us as Parliament and as a country that it is time, if we want to really appreciate ourselves and come out of the risks we face when you have debt distress, is how you deal with all these institutions that we have. Mr. Speaker, when you hear the committee giving us information and recommendations that indeed we have parastatals or corporations or institutions that are running and you don't know their budgets, they don't even report back even the budgets they have spent to the Auditor General, then you realize that is a serious loophole we have in terms of now monies being used, but you cannot see exactly. And that is what the Auditor General was saying, that, Mr. Speaker, there is need when we are auditing to even now see, by example, some of these projects we are talking about. She has tried, she has done 10 of them, and you realize when she went for those public participations, she asked citizens, and citizens told the Auditor General, we have not seen such a project. Now, you realize, Mr. Speaker, in the report, we have, let's say, for example, the refugee team department that deals with refugees. You realize they have donations and grants worth 30 billion. We have the government also that comes in and supports. Mr. Speaker, you can imagine when you don't have, in the end, a financial statement report that analyzes how they have spent money. And you realize we shall overlap and use. And with corruption, Mr. Speaker, it is so easy to use the grants and mismanage these other monies that are there. And so, Mr. Speaker, the first thing we must do is to ask, as the report says, most institutions to prepare and submit their financial reports. But as they do that, Mr. Speaker, I would wish the ministries that have been put into question to bring to this House these reports, so that even when we are doing budgeting now, Mr. Speaker, it is easy, so that people don't blame us as Parliament that we were given power to ensure we divide in equity the purse of this country, and yet we have now left it in such scenarios where they believe we are not looking and we are not itemizing our budgets to be able to know what monies is going where. So, Mr. Speaker, the other thing is the issue of the boards. You remember, Mr. Speaker, we have institutions in this country where every time the ministries will second the board members. So today you have one board member comes in, next week a different person comes in, the other week a different person. By the time you end the year, Mr. Speaker, when you look at the register, you wonder who can follow through to tell you what happened from January, because there's no institutional memory, and yet they are moving, they have per diems, Mr. Speaker, they are moving out, they are doing things out there, and we cannot even trace to know. By the time you are questioning that board, everyone will tell you, I was sent by the PS and I was sent another job. So can we request now the ministries and the PS, the accounting officer, to ensure if you second an officer to be in a certain board, let that officer maximum at least 6 months, Mr. Speaker, so that by the time he's leaving, he's also accountable and responsible if anyone asks a question. Mr. Speaker, the other thing we must ensure is the system of reporting. These gaps that we have in terms of systems of governance, Mr. Speaker, we need to look at it. Even ourselves, we need to look at Article 223, Mr. Speaker, that everyone is complaining out there. It is being misused, but we have to sit as Parliament and request that if indeed the government will wish to use Article 223, then they have to bring everything to Parliament for pre-approvals, and we ask them, it is an emergency, yes, but are we sure you cannot use the contingency fund instead of using the consolidated fund, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, as I want to finalize, I want to request even this House. You remember there was fire in Embakasi East, Mr. Speaker. That issue is with the DCI. I know also the county government is responsible, and they are supposed to send their officers to go and sit down with the DCI so that we can finalize that report and see how we can be able to ensure the victims are also accountable. They are assisted in what. So when we talk of auditing, we are auditing so many things and things that are happening badly. Mr. Speaker, I just want to say it is important for us, as our chair of budget and the team are finalizing, and all our chairmen, the work they are doing, we need to sit and finalize and look at that budget print and assist the country to have a budget that anyone can understand, but more importantly, itemized. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to support. I can see my whip just telling me, finish, finish. Whip, I have finished. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Peter Kihungi, you are on the...
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mine, I think, is to support the report for the committee.